This year, Xbox and Bethesda had a showcase together, obviously due to Xbox's recent acquisition of Bethesda, and there was a lot to show. And this year, Xbox also decided to go for rapid fire, like one announcement after another, with very few talking with game developers in between. So there was a lot of titles to cover, but here are just a few of the highlights and the games I'm looking forward to and I enjoyed or was surprised by the most. So let's check them out. So first up is a game we've all been looking forward to from Bethesda, Starfield. So previously they just basically announced it and showed a little bit of space content, but this time we got a full on, even though it was still like a CGI cutscene and we didn't see any gameplay, we actually saw the sort of aesthetic look, and they seem to be going for more like what I call a current day, if not slightly in the future, realistic look in space, like astronaut outfit and stuff. It hasn't gone what I thought might have gone in like the direction of something like a Mass Effect or something with more specific like battle armor or something. This is definitely had a feeling that it's going to be about exploring. Now what that ends up being, I don't know, and there was a slight hint at the beginning when the character put the gun down that there will be some combat, but it didn't show. So is it going to be monsters? Are we rival companies? Kind of hard to tell. I'm going by Bethesda's other games. Usually there would be a mixture of monsters, but also you battling other humans, or like in Elder Scrolls, other races in their own like political conflicts and stuff. And the same with Fallout, you've kind of got like your groups of people, your resistance, your corporations. So if they go for something different with Starfield, I'll be intrigued. They implied there was going to be more planets to visit, so I'm curious to see this in actual gameplay, and I'm looking forward to it as someone who really enjoys the Elder Scrolls Online currently. This has the potential, if this could be anything like that but in space, I'm sold. Let's move on to the next game. Next up is Battlefield 2042. Now the other day we had like a 5-minute teaser trailer, like a CGI trailer that looked amazing, but today we got gameplay footage in the Xbox press conference and it looked amazing. 128 players, there was a storm, there's loads of action. This, like previous Battlefields, felt pretty intense, as in like a huge battle, but this took it to the next level. There were buildings, there was destruction, this tornado thing, the wingsuits. They've really upped the game, and I'm glad they've gone for something different this time instead of relying on modern combat or some historical battle. The only thing I'd wanted is like more in the future, but that's just my personal preference. But to be honest, this looks like it has the potential to be the best Battlefield multiplayer game that has ever been. So I'm very excited to try this out. And on to our next game. Next, Somerville. This really took me by surprise. As soon as it started, I was like intrigued. Who is this family? What they're doing? And then once the gameplay started, I was like, wow, this gave me like more like Inside than Limbo, but this feeling like a Limbo, the Inside type game. Obviously Limbo and Inside were similar in some regards, but the Inside had like a different look to it and vibe, and this kind of had the same feeling. They're like this family's traveling somewhere. It's obviously like 3D, but it's obviously on a 2D plane. Some light puzzles, there's some type of alien invasion maybe, it was hard to tell. But just aesthetically, this was like amazing. This is the type of thing when I started playing Inside, I was like hooked. And I feel like this could do the same. This is like the next Inside. But definitely had intrigued. I was like, who's this family? What's going on with these aliens? And I like this whole, I like the idea of gameplay where like you got to try and like flee and you're like traveling and trying to find freedom that didn't involve, I don't know, the dad getting a gun and shooting them. If that happens in the game, I don't know. But not from the gameplay we saw. So this one is definitely one to put on your watch list and keep an eye on, because it looks like it could turn into something very special. Next up on my list, even though it's not a new game, why I've put it on the list and the highlight in this video is because it's coming to Game Pass. Hades. We're talking about Hades. Now this is a game I kind of avoided knowing too much about. I already like the studio, I already like Bastion, Transistor, So I really enjoyed those games. This is a roguelike game about the underworld. I heard good stuff about the characters. The gameplay looks really good. Visually it's amazing. So I've kind of avoided the stuff, and I still don't know actually much more than a little bit about what I've heard roughly. But this is one, as soon as I saw it was available to Game Pass and be able to pre-install, I've already installed it on my Xbox. I'm looking forward. This comes out in August to Game Pass. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to focus. This might be the roguelike game for me to spend more of my time in. Because at the moment, like Flint Hook is like my top roguelike game. But this, the isometric view and everything, the speed, like, and the music, as soon as I heard the music, I was like, wow. I remember playing through Bastion. I thought the music was fantastic in that. So I'm really looking forward to this to come to Game Pass. And there were loads of games on today's live stream for the Xbox. The Xbox and Bethesda live stream had loads that said, coming to Game Pass day one, Game Pass day one, Game Pass day one, pre-install now, which is fantastic news, which makes every month I've had Game Pass, it gets better and better and more reason to get Game Pass. Let's move on to our next game. Next up is something we've all been waiting for, Halo Infinite. But what my highlight was from the stream was the Halo multiplayer. Halo multiplayer is going to be free to play, giving a chance for even more people to give it a chance, because I think the Halo multiplayer has something unique and special that kind of feels different from your Call of Duties and your Battlefields. I like how there's like small maps, big maps, vehicles, but I like the flow of combat. I like the universe of Halo. This just looks amazing, and I liked how they teased us in the trailer with the announcer is back, because everyone loves the announcer in Halo. He's fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've added, what's new. I want to see the old maps but come back with a new visual look. I'm really hoping this grips me as much as like Halo 3 multiplayer did on Halo Reach multiplayer. I kind of faded off Halo 5 multiplayer, even though it's still great. There's just something about it that wasn't quite sitting with me. So I'm hoping they've fully put the effort into this multiplayer and to bring it back. So yeah, it looks fantastic, as you probably tell from the gameplay. It's going to be loads of great fun. So let's hope the classic red versus blue is back. I hope I've used the right colours there. Never mind. Anyway, it looks fantastic. So yeah, that's going to be free to play. And then obviously I think the campaign is going to be a paid extra. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, because lots of people just play multiplayer and some people don't bother with the campaign. So I'm hoping enough people still buy the campaign or want to play the campaign, because the Halo games have had fantastic campaigns over the last, well they've been doing it for the last 20 years, haven't they? So it's fantastic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more details on that. But from the maps I saw so far, it's looking really good. Let's move on to our next game. Right, my next games is a set of games, because I bundled these together because these are sequels. Now, the one sequel we did know about was Psychonauts 2. Now, I played most of the first Psychonauts, unfortunately I never got around to finishing it, but it was definitely a weird and bizarre, what I called, like, it wasn't Tim Burton, but you know like how Tim Burton's characters are really like bizarre, but you love the aesthetic. This has that same vibe, and Psychonauts 2 seems to take it to the next level, and I love how much colour is, and it's great to see more 3D platforms make a comeback, especially these bigger budget ones as well. I think the humour sounds funny, it's written well, the graphics look amazing, and I'm really looking forward to this. Now, the sequel that I was not expecting, and was even funnier because I only literally streamed the first game last week on my Twitch channel, was Slime Rancher. Yes, they are making a sequel to Slime Rancher. So Slime Rancher 2 is coming to Xbox. And it has even more new slimes, what looks like a new farm. I think you're still the same character, I really hope so. But yes, more slimes, that's what we need, more slimes. And I'm guessing there'll probably be more ways to look after the slimes and more things to do on your farm. Because the first one, even though I've only played so far into it, originally I thought it was just like, oh, collecting the slimes. It kind of goes places, and I don't want to spoil anything for people, but it's definitely worth keep playing, because that game where you think it's just farm sim goes places, and I really hope number 2 does the same as well. And let's move on to our next game. Next up, which a game that took me completely by surprise, is Redfall. Now, it's got a very cool, funky look to it. The characters seem diverse, they seem cool and like stylish, but in like a retro sense. Obviously this is just a CGI trailer, so obviously it looks very cool and impressive looking. Kind of like a mystery, because I was like wondering what's going on. Like, is it an alien invasion? Is it going to be zombies? They're kind of like hiding out in like a convenience store or like a small food shop, and then they go out. One of them uses like a magic special ability, like makes some type of teleporting phone box or something. I don't know, it was like this purple box that looks really cool, and I really like the look of the magic. And then it turns out there's vampires. They're making a very cool, stylish vampire game. Usually they go for like dark and gritty and stuff, but this kind of had like a more funky, not upbeat because that makes it sound cheerful, but this was definitely more having fun with the whole vampire thing instead of just being the usual dark thing. And some of the styles of the vampires looked very cool. The characters look stylish, the vampires look stylish. This game was just reeking with style, audio style, visual style, and this one could potentially be massive. I'm hoping it's a co-op game. 4-player co-op would be good. It definitely has that look to it, and it's nice to see something that isn't deadly serious vampire stuff and something that's not zombies. So this has fantastic potential power to be amazing, and this could technically, I think out of all the games, this might be the one that surprised me the most, and it's pretty high up on my list of what things I'm looking forward to. Right, so there are just some of the highlights from the Xbox press conference of E3 2021. I really enjoyed it. There was loads of games. There's even more than that, and we might cover them in future videos. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.